Alright guys, welcome to your 16th biology tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to take a closer look at the plasma membrane, specifically the different parts that make it up. And the first part I want to start with is called the phospholipids. So, phospholipids. Now remember that we talked about phospholipids before, and they were a special type of lipids. Specifically, I said that they were the part that made up the cell membrane. So let me go ahead and show you guys where they are in the cell membrane. So there are actually two layers of these. One is on one side and the other is on another side. And they look something like this with a head and tails. So we'll say that this is the cell membrane right here, and I might as well go ahead and write outside. We'll say that this is the outside of the cell and this is the inside of the cell with all the cytoplasm. So basically the first part of the cell membrane is the phospholipids. Now again, like you can see, there are two layers of phospholipids, and that's why some people call this the phospholipid bilayer. So again, the first part is the phospholipids, and a couple things to point out here is that obviously they have heads right here and they also have tails. So two parts of the phospholipids. And if you're wondering, okay, so does it just happen by chance that they're randomly, all their heads are stuck together and all of their tails are stuck together or pointing in the same direction? And it doesn't happen by chance because in fact the heads of these are attracted to water and the tails right here repel water. So since the outside and the inside are kind of watery, I'll just put watery right here, that's why the heads are attracted to this part, and the tails, because they don't like water or they repel water, that's why they are attracted to the inside where there is no water at all. So again, watery solution outside the cell and inside the cell, so that's why the two layers of the phospholipids are pointing towards the watery side, and the inside, where the tails are repelling the water. Simple enough. So the next part of the plasma membrane are proteins. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a big old protein. And let me see if I can... Hold on, let me turn my tablet so I can write sideways. Protein. Okay, that's the best I can do. But basically, that is a protein right there. Now, again, as you can see, the proteins are kind of embedded in the phospholipid bilayers, and they aren't just stuck there. They actually float around your entire cell membrane. But for right now, it's easier to draw if I just draw it embedded like that. So the next part I guess we want to talk about is actually, it'll probably be easier if I draw some more of these because that's kind of what they look like. You have your proteins embedded in your phospholipid bilayer. So it looks something like this. If we were to take your cell membrane, which is incredibly thin, and we were to put it under an incredibly powerful microscope, it would have your phospholipids with some random proteins embedded inside. However, that's not the entire story. There is a bigger part to this, and the next thing that I want to cover is cholesterol. Now, cholesterol, I guess it would look something like this. Come in these little chains and around these positions. So I guess since I have this color coded, I might as well go ahead and write cholesterol. Now, remember that I told you guys about cholesterol earlier on, but the job of it in a cell membrane is to make the membrane more stable. And another cool feature that it has is whenever your cell gets really cold and your body gets really cold, the cholesterol prevents it from freezing, or otherwise, if you didn't have cholesterol, whenever it was really cold outside, your cells would freeze and solidify and turn rock hard. But thanks to cholesterol, it prevents that. So whenever your body temperature is real low, cholesterol does in fact come in handy. So again, the doctor said that's really bad, but it's really, useful in some cases. So the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, let me pick a color that I haven't used. I haven't used yellow yet. Is the carbohydrate chains. Now the carbohydrate chains are outside your membrane, and I guess I can just draw these like this I don't know, triangles. Obviously, they aren't really triangles in your body, but there are these chains that are outside the membrane, but still part of the membrane technically. So the carbohydrate chains, let me just go ahead and label these. Carbohydrate chains, they do serve a purpose other than to look good, and their purpose is to identify the blood or identify the cell, and we'll talk more about that later on. But just remember right now that you do have carbohydrate chains, and a fun fact is that your blood type, you know how you have A, B, O, they actually depend on which type of carbohydrate chains are bonded to the membrane. Pretty cool, but just worry about that later on. So for now, of course, the main part of your cell membrane is this phospholipid bilayer, and the phospholipid bilayer has heads and tails. Each phospholipid, the heads attract water, the tails repel water, so that's why you have two layers that are arranged like this. Your proteins, of course, they do a lot of different things. We'll talk about those later on in the next tutorial, actually, exactly what they do. But they float around your cell membrane and do whatever we need them to do. Cholesterol, right here, the job of cholesterol is pretty much to make your membrane more stable and also help it from freezing whenever your body temperature is too low. And your carbohydrate chains pretty much identify your cell and also play a role in depending which type of blood you have in blood cells. So that's pretty much a really close zoomed up view on the plasma membrane, aka the cell membrane. Hopefully you understand all you need to understand about it for now. In the next tutorial, like I said, we're going to be talking how particles in material transport through the plasma membrane. It's going to be awesome. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.